Welcome back, everybody. Episode 2 of Gridiron Gang. You can go check us out on YouTube and IG. We got our first episode up of our Gridiron Gang mock draft. Today, we got a recap of the first round. I'm going to give our thoughts on how we thought these teams did, as well as, maybe give a couple live updates throughout the second and third round of this draft tonight, 6 o'clock, Friday night. Nowhere else I'd rather be right now, man. So all 32 picks are in. To start it off, man, who do you think had the best night overall?
Are we talking about which team came away looking the best after last night?
Yeah, I got about 4 or 5 teams on my board to answer.
I think I'm ultimately gonna give like my number one to the New York Jets. I think getting Sauce at 4 was, we had that for the longest time predicted, so, and that was a no-brainer in my eyes. And I think he could have went top 3 with his talents as well. So to get him at 4, I think that was a huge get for them. Perfect fit for that defense and Robert Saleh. And then to come back at 10 and get Garrett Wilson. I've had a couple drafts mocks where I had Wilson 4 and defensive player at 10. Obviously, it wasn't Sauce because I knew he wouldn't last that long. But I always saw Garrett Wilson as the receiver they wanted to get, simply for the fact that he can move all over the formation in that offense. And they already got Corey Davis, who's more of a big body guy. And then you also have, obviously, Elijah Moore, and then Braxton Berrios. So I think he's going to slide in day one and obviously contribute right away, and that's only going to help, that Wilson to Wilson connection. And then you trade back because you got a big faller in the draft coming, in Jermaine Johnson, which I was totally surprised he went that late.
Shocked.
And he was I think he was an overall top 10 player on most draft boards. Mm-hmm. So to trade back in and get 3 top 10 guys,
top 10 on their board, especially.
Yeah, and that's you can't ask for a better night than that. That's unbelievable. All 3 day one contributors, and and I was seeing, I didn't know he got compared to Danielle Hunter, but that's a hell of a comparison if you're gonna.
Jermaine did?
Yeah, last night when I was watching the draft.
I know that either.
I think I don't remember his name, Daniel Jeremiah or something had him compared.
Okay.
But I think they came away looking the best last night, especially for how bad they've been for so long and just that dysfunction. But like I said many times, they got the right guy as their head coach. So, he got all his guys he wanted last night. Props to them. So that's my overall team, I would say, for the winner of the night.
That's solid. I got a couple other teams in contention. Yours truly, Baltimore, Kansas City. I think they did very well. Got 2 players that were valued higher, and I think they got them later in the round. That was very good for them. Philly as well. But the battle in New York, I think the Giants might have came away best out of this because they got 2 players that were said to be at one time the overall number 1 pick. So I think when you can come away with that at 5 and 7, you get to wait. You don't have to make any crazy trades or draft anybody out of position. Luckily the picks fell the way they did, so they didn't have to reach for that O-line at 5.
For sure.
They had their pick of the litter at 7. So I think this worked out perfect for them. Kayvon Thibodeau seemed like he was thrilled.
I think, and you know what, with Kayvon, it's funny because all this last 2 weeks saying no one knows how interested he is in football anymore, or his off-field stuff, and I'm just that's so much smoke screen right there, because that's
all it was.
It's all. The talent's there.
Mm-hmm.
You can't argue what's on film. So for me, and I've been saying for the longest too, I didn't know the defensive player per se that they might go for. Obviously, Kayvon is a stud and is fine there, but I always had Evan Neal kind of going to the Giants all the way. I just thought that was a picture-perfect scenario for him. Goes and plays opposite of Andrew Thomas. Their draft board literally, it was perfect.
It was perfect
compared to most mocks. The only thing that was different was you had the positions flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it landed beautifully for them. I mean, you can't.
One of those teams where you get lucky when someone ahead of you probably takes somebody out of position.
Right.
We'll get to that later, but
Yep.
it just happened to work that way. It was beautiful for them. I think they ended up winning. So Battle of New York, both teams usually not known for doing well, both came away winners in our opinion. So
And it's nice watching
Good for them.
it's nice watching the draft where you don't see a whole lot of like incompetent picks and moves. I mean, obviously there's one I didn't like, but yeah, the New York teams. It's just like you see them on the schedule and it's always kind of like there ain't much there.
Mhm.
Like, but also with the Jets, I mean Wilson's now got to show something and lead that team to some victories.
for a lot of these guys, there's no excuses anymore.
No, there's not. I mean, and it was these teams last night went and made moves where they're ensuring that their guys have to come to play now.
A lot of quarterback-friendly moves have been going on this offseason. Flip it on the other side. Who do you think had the worst night?
Instant reaction. I would have given it to the Vikings because I didn't feel like that trade. I don't think we got enough value back for giving up 20 spots, especially in the first round. I thought we needed a first rounder next year.
Do you like the pick though?
I love the pick. I think there's nothing wrong with the player. I mean, Lewisine, he's a stud, he's a baller, but it's just I just felt there was so much talent in that 12 spot left. It was hard.
So
I mean, you could have went
talent.
Jamison Williams, which he did go 12. You could have went Kyle Hamilton, who was obviously he was around like the fourth best player on draft boards.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't say that wasn't value right there.
Yeah.
So that argument's out the window. Like, I don't want to hear it. And then
Your board can't be the only one that doesn't have these guys up there.
no,
If
and
it
then
is, that's a
and
problem.
you know what? And so that was my instant reaction. But marinating on it like over the night and everything, like I've come to the realization like we still got a great player who's going to start day one, and it's going to be perfect scenario for him to learn under Hitman before he replaces Hitman.
I agree.
So I like it in that sense. And then, I mean, it ultimately depends on what we do with this 34th overall pick.
Which you're on the clock right now. Tampa
Yeah.
Bay just selected defensive tackle Logan Hall with the 33rd.
And we traded with Green
You
Bay.
just traded it to Green Bay.
2 divisional trades. Like, do you see what I'm talking about? What is this? What is happening here?
Let's see what the package is first. But
I would never trade with the Packers.
no, the
Never.
Packers especially for a 53rd and 59th overall.
So we moved,
He moves further back in the second round. We were talking before the podcast.
and now they're gonna pick George Pickens.
There is a lot of value between the 10th and middle of the third round. They probably will go get George Pickens because Aaron Rodgers was said to want a wide receiver in that first round. Yeah, man. Can't really say much. I mean, that's just perfect timing. We're talking about who had the worst night, and we're not starting this one off much better. Can't say I'm disappointed, but I'd like to hear more of your opinion if you have one.
So ultimately, I'm like the worst team last night. I thought was the New England Patriots.
Okay.
I thought that was horrible value. I don't know their thought processes in the pick, but that guy, what's his name, Cole Strange.
Yep, Cole Strange.
I thought he graded out as a third round pick, borderline second round. I mean, he would have been there. And then to watch the Los Angeles Rams press conference where they were on the podium and they just saw he was picked. And they're like, I think McVay was like, well, we just wasted all our time watching him because we thought he was going to be there at 104.
That's hilarious.
Like,
what are they having a press conference for anyway?
I don't know. Just because they didn't have a pick? I don't know.
That's hilarious, though.
I just think it was like I just didn't think it was a great pick. I thought that was the worst pick of the first round.
I agree with that. That probably was the worst pick, the biggest reach by far. To cut Bill some slack or Kraft some slack, whoever's making the calls out there, this is what they've been doing.
Right.
But the difference is you don't have Tom Brady anymore. You have Mac Jones, so you kind of have to switch up your approach to this draft. I would definitely would have looked to get him a receiver or something along the defensive side. You're pretty slow over there. You're getting kind of old, so That pick just doesn't make sense to me. The Shaq Mason trade never made sense to me. I mean, but that's what they did, man. So
And we're getting my reaction on this because, like, this has just got me furious right now.
I say, you're steaming over there right now. Packers selection.
Would you trade with anyone in your division?
I definitely see. I might trade with the Lions. I'm not trading with the Packers. Like, I'm not trading with Pittsburgh, but I might trade with.
That's what I'm saying.
Might
Your
trade
most
with
heated
Cincinnati.
in division rival. Would you? And then we move from 34. We just. What was that trade last night about then? Because that made no sense. We got nothing back.
I don't know, but at least Pickens is still on the board.
So Christian Watson, okay, that's interesting.
Christian Watson, wide receiver out of North Dakota State University.
Right, I gotta lock back in. This is fucking pissed me the fuck off.
6'4". I know he's fast as hell. I know there's concerns with his hands dropping the ball, but this might be a little bit of a reach. I think there's better receivers on the board, but his comparison is to Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who is a former Packers receiver, so that could be part of this decision here. Really didn't put up big numbers, 43 catches, 700, 800 yards.
Hey, but he does have a incredible ceiling though. If he can crack that, that could be a huge steal. But yeah. Anyways, getting off this topic, that's making me just cringe.
Okay, I think we can both agree on this next question. Who had the best trades of the night, or trade?
Okay. Well, I mean,
I can give you mine. I mean, before the draft, we talked about Philly trading with New Orleans and didn't really think that deal was done or those teams were done dealing.
Yeah.
Philly ends up trading another pick out to Tennessee, I believe it was, and they end up moving up, getting Jordan Davis, which I think was big. He'll be able to replace Fletcher Cox after about a year or two, assuming he gets in shape and does what he has to do. Outside of that, they're gonna get a receiver, A.J. Brown, to help out Jalen Hurts, and you're essentially getting him for the 18th pick.
Yeah, that's probably my number one trade.
That's amazing.
And then you get Jordan Davis. I mean, you just helped your team and you helped your quarterback so much. There's I said to you last night, there's no more excuses for Jalen Hurts. You got Devontae, you have Goddard, you have AJ. That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much potential there for potentially number one offense type.
It's gonna be
deal.
Yeah, especially in that division. Dallas is definitely taking a step back. Washington's gonna be interesting, and the Giants with their new regime, they seem to be off to a great start. So maybe they can contend a little bit. We'll see. Right now, Titans selection on the clock, round 2, pick 35. While we wait on that, what player do you think went to the best spot for that specific player? I can answer that first too, and I will say both the Baltimore players that we got.
Yeah.
Kyle Hamilton and Tyler Linderbaum.
I think that's just such an easy answer though, because.
But if I was gonna say that, I would say Sauce going to the Jets.
And that's probably what I was leaning towards, because I just feel I don't know. I probably would have went Sauce with the perfect fit with the Jets, but I do like you said, Baltimore's picks with Hamilton and Linderbaum. You needed the offensive lineman, and he's going to come in and start right now, and he could probably anchor that line for a lot of years.
We're hoping a decade.
Yeah, that's what you ultimately hope with a lineman.
Mm-hmm.
When you draft them, you want that for the long haul. But pairing Hamilton with Marcus Williams, that's so nice back there, and you can do so many different schemes with that defense with those two. So I like that a lot.
And then our corners are top notch as long as they're healthy next year.
I really do like the Jordan Davis to the Eagles though. I just feel to learn from Fletcher Cox, and if you can unlock your overall potential,
yeah, that's beautiful.
He can be and he's a freak. So you can do some damage getting into the backfield and just creating havoc.
That can be. I ultimately think Sauce will be the best player out of this class, but Jordan Davis can be the biggest game changer.
But I also, I mean, you can't, with what Dan Campbell's doing in Detroit and, what he brings to the team, his beliefs and everything, Aiden Hutchinson is that's the most perfect player team fit you can get for what they're doing over there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and he's your hometown boy, shoot, that's...
If you think the NFL is rigged, you would have thought so again last night.
Yeah, exactly.
So, speaking on that, Trey Walker was a little bit of a surprise pick for me personally, even though I did hear a lot of he would be going number one the days leading up to the draft. Who do you think is the biggest surprise pick or picks for you?
Well, I'll go back to New England, that Cole Strange one.
Cole Strange,
had me kind of scratching my head, but I didn't see the Quay Walker.
Oh, that was out of
to
left
Green
field.
Bay, and especially for him being picked over Nakobe Dean, who's much better. I mean, it's kind of like that. Both those Walker players have just the potential and on paper characteristics that you're looking for, but it's ultimately up to them to unlock that, and it's never a given. That's why these picks are risky, especially in the first round. So when you go that route, but they did come back and add Devontae Wyatt, which is a solid pick. But yeah, that one had me scratch my head a little bit.
For sure. Not to cut you off, we did miss a third pick in this round, but the Jets did just trade with the Giants, so the Giants go 2 back to 38. The Jets get 36. They're on the clock here. The pick is in. They're making some moves, man. 4 picks in the top 36.
They came to play this weekend,
and they're hitting on all of them right now. So I'm interested to see what they're gonna do right here. Can you pull up who that third pick was?
Yeah, I'm bringing up the draft right now.
But while you do that, I agree, man. Patriots have to be a loser. I honestly think Pittsburgh is a loser as well. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Baltimore guy. Not losers, surprise picks. Strange surprise pick. I also think Pickett from Pittsburgh was a surprise pick.
Yeah, I always thought that Malik Willis was their guy, but it kind of shocked me that they went there. I don't believe, I've said this before, I don't believe in Kenny Pickett like that. I think he's already hit his ceiling, and you already have a similar guy in Trubisky. So what's the point of all that? Am I missing something here, or?
I must be missing something because Tomlin said he wanted a more athletic. Tomlin said he wanted a more athletic quarterback coming into the season. Right now we have Darrelle Revis Island, announcing the 36th pick for the New York Jets. So Ahmad Sauce Gardner at 4, Garrett Wilson at 10, Jermaine Johnson at 26. Right here at 36, we're going to go Breece Hall, running back out of Iowa State. The first running back off the board. Man, so he's another guy we have no excuses for right now, Zach Wilson.
Exactly. You got Garrett Wilson, you got Breece Hall. And honestly, I didn't see this coming because I thought you're cool with Michael Carter or whatever the running back they picked last year, but obviously he's a big upgrade over that guy, in my opinion.
For the simple fact that the last 3 times we've recorded, you have not known Michael Carter's name.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna say this is a great pick right here.
Yeah,
because
I don't know. I get him. I don't know why I want to always say Michael Carter Williams, and that's not it. But it's Michael Carter, I believe, because they have a D-back with the same name too. I think.
Okay.
He's a 3-down workhorse.
He is.
So
He's
that's
big.
a solid pick.
He's fast.
I love what the Jets are doing overall right now. I would love to be a Jets fan in this situation, especially this draft. You're hitting on every single pick.
And you have a coach to capitalize on it.
Exactly.
That's important as well. This guy's ranking up there with Travis Etchins, Najee Harris, Saquon Barkley, and Mr. DH himself, Derrick Henry. 99 overall draft score, Next Gen Stats, powered by AWS. That's surprising, man. He did lead the FBS with 24 rush touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He's not my favorite running back on the board, but he's a really good player. I think this is a great pick. Jets came to fucking play.
Yeah, I thought Kenneth Walker would be the number 1 back going off. But you know what? I'm excited to see, though, whoever gets James Cook, because I really feel like he might not be an every down workhorse, but
why don't y'all grab him?
I think he'd be a great compliment with Dalvin. You could shoot. I'd take that, but I don't see that happening. But
that'd be hilarious.
I think James Cook. I mean, he's so similar to Dalvin that why wouldn't you want a guy like that on your team? If everyone loves Dalvin so much, why wouldn't you go and get James Cook?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he might shock people. Maybe he is a workhorse. Like, I mean, no one knew if Dalvin was going to be a workhorse like that in the NFL either, but he's panned out so far. You just got to stay healthy.
Which maybe disqualifies you from the workhorse conversation.
Yeah.
But round 2, pick 37, safety, Jalen Petrie out of Baylor, went to the Houston Texans. His first team All-American selection last year. They came to play too. I mean, I think they reached a little bit, and we're going to get into this draft right now.
Yeah.
We'll just talk about Jacksonville just like that. Trayvon Walker was the first pick last night. Personally, for me, he wasn't in my top 10 on my board, but people are banking on his athleticism, his raw talent, and the fact that they can develop him into something great. I don't like that he started as D-tackle and they kicked him out the end.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing they might end up moving him back into D-tackle. He's not a pass rusher, but he's a good run stuffer. So
I mean, what do you have, 9.5 sacks in his whole career for college?
I mean, you're taking a guy who can't pass rush as your number one player in the passing league as a pass rusher. When he played defensive tackle, you're talking about moving him inside already. If that's what you're going to do, this guy better be Aaron Donald.
Exactly. And for me, it's hard to even justify him going 1.
When you had a safe pick right there in Aiden Hutchinson.
And Aiden hasn't even hit his ceiling yet either. The one pick for them I really liked was Devin Lloyd, trading back in and getting him. I thought that was a really good move, solid move. I didn't see that coming at all. I can't say, but I think if you're picking Walker 1, you had to come back into the first round and grab another solid day 1 starter.
Someone that's going to be a safer pick in Devin Lloyd. Trayvon Walker, he's more of a project. Devin Lloyd, I think, can come in and play right away, like you said.
Yeah.
Second pick of the draft, it was easy. Didn't even have to think about it. Aiden Hutchinson, number 2. And then Detroit also gets Jameson Williams, trading with their division rival, Minnesota Vikings, at number 12. Yeah. Last pod, we didn't say much about Aiden. There's really not a lot to say.
There's not much to say about that pick at all. I mean, that was a home run.
Easy guy, man. Probably the most productive guy in this class. Won a handful of awards last year. He's probably should have been the number 1 pick easy. Jameson Williams, if he doesn't tear up his knee in the championship game, Alabama might win that game, and he's probably for sure the number 1 receiver off this board.
Yeah.
This is to pair him with Amon St. Brown out there in Detroit.
And DJ Chark.
Wow.
Yeah. The only saving grace for this year is they got Jared Goff throwing them the ball. So
that's a fact.
And that's what I've been saying too when we made this trade. It's like we're gifting them a potential wide receiver who's going to burn us for years.
And we don't have any DBs right now.
And that Goff isn't their answer long term. So they're going to eventually get a quarterback, and I don't know who it will be, but they're retooling that team in a way where you haven't seen it like this in how many years? When has the Lions somewhat looked like this even on paper? Like, they're doing good things over there, and I just can't. And then we did it twice in this draft already, trading with a division rival. What the hell are you doing? That is
no value. 53 and 59. I mean, what are we?
And we traded, and we traded last night and got that 34th pick, and we just traded it away.
Yeah, you did.
So we lost our 46th pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is insane, dude. This is not looking good for the Vikings' new GM so far. I'm just putting it like it's not like this is like Moneyball, and these division teams are just sitting there in their war rooms laughing at us.
They have to be.
Well, Lions is one thing, but and then if Watson becomes what many think he can, why would you do that? Your arch rival.
You're giving your teams weapons to beat you when you have nobody to stop those weapons. Right now, we have pick 38, round 2. Atlanta Falcons taking your boy Arnold Ebiketie out of Penn State, edge player, 6'2", 250.
Mm-hmm.
Athlete, was a little sleeper, and how you feel about that?
Yeah, I think it's a solid pick. I think his pro comp that I like the most that I've seen is Yannick Ngakoue.
Okay.
So I think that's a solid pickup.
They just
I think he is overall better than Boye Mafe. Two Big Ten players, obviously, and the Falcons addressed the need because they needed edge rush help bad. So to land him at pick 38, and I think they might have traded up to that pick.
I'm glad they got the edge here. I texted you yesterday when they were on the clock.
Yeah.
Jermaine Johnson was going to give me Vic Beasley vibes at number 8.
But now that they got a guy like this, I like their Drake London pick even more.
Houston picked earlier in this round. Last night, they got the 3rd pick. Went and grabbed Derek Stingley Jr., DB out of LSU. And a little bit of a reach for me, Kenyon Green, offensive guard out of Texas A&M at 15.
Yep.
Stingley, outside of Sauce, obviously the best corner in the draft. Outside of Sauce, probably has the potential to be the best player in this draft.
Yep.
It was news to me yesterday. You know, he played through a Liz Frank injury, and obviously it was COVID season 2020, which I didn't really take into consideration. So I'll cut him a little slack today. He fits the system very well. Lovie Smith is a defensive guy.
Right. I was just gonna say that.
And I think it's gonna be perfect for him. And I mean, that along with Kenyon Green, I mean, you need every position. Maybe he was higher up on their board than most.
Yeah, and I think they said that Kenyon Green can possibly play tackle as well.
Okay.
If they wanted him to.
So if you compare him and Laramie Tunsil, that'll be just fine.
Right.
For,
or if you have
Mills.
that much faith in what's his name, Titus Howard, I think. The other tackle on the right. If they do and they choose to put Kenyon at the guard position, that's all well and fine too. But I mean, he's a day one starter regardless. But you had to do. I'm not saying I really loved the pick of Kenyon Green at 13 because I had him farther back on my board. But Derek Stingley at 3, you can't really argue that because I do believe he probably went to a good coach who ultimately he's going to run a system that fits him more. I think I was hearing today that it's a lot of more zone defense, and they feel like Stingley thrives more in the zone scheme.
Yeah, you fill out the middle of the roster this offseason with a lot of those middle of the pack guys, so you get a potential superstar here in Derek Stingley. That's definitely what you aim for in the top 5. Kenyon Green, like, not the flashiest pick, but I think it's going to be a safe pick. Versatile offensive lineman. Just thought it was a little bit of a reach.
Yeah.
He'll be there for 10, 12 years, hopefully. We can talk about your winners now. If you want to set us off on this one, New York Jets.
Yeah, so the New York Jets, I mean, obviously first grabbing Sauce Gardner, then going back and getting Garrett Wilson at 10 and trading back into the first round for Jermaine Johnson at 26. You really just set your team up for so much success, especially in the future, 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. I mean, and the thing is, none of them, I mean, they're all great values. None of them are reaches. They're all arguably top 10 guys on draft boards. So, especially to get Jermaine Johnson to 26, he should have never fell that far. And that's props to the Jets for realizing what the hell's going on here. Let's see what we can do to get back in and grab him.
Every team on here could have used him probably.
And you know what? He's another guy I would have been fine with it picking at 12 for us because, hey, that's a position we kind of need, especially for the future in the contract situations. But
Jermaine, Jameson, who else is there? McDuffie.
A lot of guys. I mean, a lot of guys were at 34 too.
Tough. I mean, depending on what the Bears do here, they might be having a better draft than you guys.
They might go Pickens.
They need a receiver. I mean,
oh no, they went Kyler Gordon.
Their selection is in. They go Kyler Gordon, defensive back out of Washington. That's a great pick too. I mean,
especially right there in that spot.
That's a Bear style player too.
Yeah, I think I like that pick.
Matt Forte, he's got a little hair plugs in. I remember you used to be bald, bro. Don't try and, hey, we do this, man. Don't try and do that, man. We know who you are. Looking like Jamie Foxx up here.
There's not much else to say for the Jets because I kind of covered them in our first little tidbit we did.
Yep.
They're obviously my winner of the night. Love the 3 players they got. What they're doing though is just like, and then to come back and get Breece Hall in the second round, like that is, I mean, you hit on every single pick, bro. You traded up twice, and for good players.
And like you didn't reach.
Like, I mean, shoot, there's not much to say.
You're about to switch teams. I hear it in your voice.
They might be my AFC team.
You're about to switch teams, man.
I'm a big. I mean, for number one, I'm a big Sauce guy. I love
TJ Namath, man. There's nothing you can dislike about this dude, man.
Yeah.
Next, Dion. New York Giants. Kayvon Thibodeau at 5. Evan Neal at 7. Another team we talked about earlier. We don't have to say too much. Two guys that could have potentially went number 1. And you don't reach for these guys either. So they're doing a lot of big things in New York. Basketball shit out there. Brooklyn just got swept, but football, you're looking all right so far as far as
Yeah,
the draft goes.
you're happy to be either a Giants or Jets fan this so far.
Yeah, when is the last time we've been able to say that?
There's always chaos in New York.
Last time the Giants were successful, they had a great D-line. The Super Bowl they won before that, they had a great D-line. So I think, even though I didn't think Kayvon would drop this far, this is a great pick for them, and it fits their tradition. Strahan, Justin Tuck, JPP.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think this is their first elite edge rusher since JPP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, they had some guys in there, Leonard Williams and a couple other guys.
But not like the guy.
Right. And not outside guys either. Like you said, edge rusher. This is the
And for me, I think the Giants, like I said, their draft board, I feel like these two guys were their choices all along.
I can't really argue that. I mean, these are great picks, great value. I obviously had them as my winner of the night, but we do know James Bradbury might be on the move, and Kyle Hamilton was available. That could have also been a pick here at 7 or 5 for them. But I love what they did. Carolina, I love what you did too. You didn't reach for Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. It sucks that you have to take a pick here at number 6, and this is your only pick till the 4th round.
Yeah.
When you need, a couple more players to fill out that roster, but
they got arguably the best offensive lineman in the draft.
They did,
and a serious guy to build around, especially with that line for years to come, I think. And he's a hometown kid. The second hometown kid.
Can't believe we dropped the ball on that.
Like, I didn't even know until last night. That was crazy.
We gotta do better research, man.
So, I think that's a phenomenal pick. And it restored my faith in the Panthers not making bonehead moves. Because I ultimately thought, they were going to go Kenny Pickett. And that would have been the worst pick of the night.
They had a good draft last year, didn't they?
I'm not saying restore my faith in them. I'm just saying because I'm not a big Matt Rule fan. I feel like he's got too much college ball in him. He doesn't really see the NFL the way it should be seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good. I think they made the smart move, and that was a good sign to me because they're not sitting there saying, hey, we have to have a quarterback here, even though this is our only pick till the 4th round. You can still go out there and get Baker Mayfield after the draft.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo.
There's options, and they realize that.
I'm glad when teams don't make bad decisions, though.
Yeah.
So this is a great pick. Definitely greatest run blocking guy in the draft outside of my guy out of Northern Iowa, but Christian McCaffrey's sure as hell glad to hear that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, you want to keep that man happy.
Atlanta at 8, wide receiver, Drake London. Questions about his route running, questions about his separation.
Mm-hmm.
I personally had him going here. He's not my favorite receiver in this draft, but I think they did what they needed to do. With Calvin Ridley going to be out, trading away Justin Gage to Tampa Bay.
Yep. This
is definitely a position of need. If they weren't going to go here, maybe this was a team that was going to reach for Malik Willis. I'm glad they didn't do that either. But, they need more needs than this. DB, anything on the defense, really. But this was a good pick for them. I think if you compare him with those other guys that are going to be more speedy, and then with Kyle Pitts as well.
Yeah.
You definitely have big targets for your new quarterback coming in next year.
Oh, they're going to tear up the undersized secondaries.
Oh, they are.
So, and honestly, that if I'm Mariota, I'm happy. Plus you still got Cordero who can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna see a big jump from Kyle Pitts this year, I think.
I really hope so. You hate to see talent like that get wasted. I mean, he did break the receiving record, but he only had one score.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the same thing I saw with Julio. I don't want to see that with him, too. Second round, pick 40, Seattle Seahawks. Pick is in. Boye Mafe, edge out of Minnesota.
Love it.
I liked him, man. I had him going in the first round before. My latest mock, I didn't, but I think this is a great pick. This is a Seattle pick all the way.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm surprised they didn't reach.
Ooh, their next pick, back to back, Kenneth Walker.
They do. Ooh, another Seattle pick.
That was a surprise. But, I mean, you have two injury-prone running backs on your roster, which is not good. I think Kenneth Walker can overtake those two, and that sets them up nice.
I mean, this is perfect timing because yesterday they grabbed Charles Cross with the 9th pick right after Atlanta grabbed Drake London.
This is what I'm saying. They're doing good things. Like this is the Seahawk way. Like they know how to revamp. Granted, this is their first year in however long without Russell Wilson. They know they have to make moves and really retool that team. So their first 3 picks, or is this their first 2 picks?
3.
Oh no, 3. Charles Cross was first. Great overall picks, I think.
This is a great pick. I love Kenneth.
Yeah,
Walker.
Kenneth Walker. That's what I was just saying. I love that pick. I mean, and they did a smart thing in not trading either of those picks.
Yeah, and they didn't reach for anybody, which is important.
Great value there.
So now, I mean, what do they have? Drew Lock, Kenneth Walker, DK, Tyler Lockett. I mean, they have a lot of weapons right now.
And that's we might be surprised by Drew Lock this year. I mean, he could come out and ball potentially.
I said I'm fine going forward with him, especially when you're getting off a guy like Russ. What are my expectations going to be?
Right.
Super Bowl?
I'd rather have Drew Lock than Geno Smith, in my honest opinion.
Pick 11, because pick 10 was Garrett
Jets,
Wilson
yep.
to the Jets. Chris Olave, wide receiver out of Ohio State, going to New Orleans, and then trading into the first round with that Philly pick. 19, offensive line, Trevor Penning. So you really get both needs that you needed.
Yeah, and they made the Olave pick. That was a typical Saints pick. I mean, you like your Ohio State guys, and he's a smooth, speedy receiver. I mean, he can go track the ball, and I just think he might not be the flashiest guy or like the biggest name that stands out among all the receivers, but he's a very, very solid pick, to say the least. Trevor Penning, I know he's a mauler, has an attitude in him, and they needed to replace Terron Armstead. I'm just kind of, I got my question marks about Penning. Just he's coming from a smaller school, UNI. Can he on a snap by snap basis play at a high level against these top edge rushers?
It's always a concern with these guys from smaller schools.
But he did show.
I'm not gonna lie.
He did show at the Senior Bowl that he was taking care of business. So that gives me hope.
He did hold his own, and his run block grade was phenomenal. So you got to figure he'll at least be able to do that. Yeah, it's a need, but for that aspect, kind of a questionable pick if you're gonna put him at left tackle.
Yeah.
Just because you're getting off one of the best left tackles in the league, losing him to Miami.
Right. Exactly.
And Jameis Winston coming off that injury.
Exactly.
Definitely want to protect him. Kamara, you guys use him a lot in the passing game and the run game, so you don't really want to get him beat up in the run game if you can't block that side. Olave, like you said, we could see that coming as soon as they traded up to that number 11
I did
spot.
think it could have been Jameson Williams, though, too. He would have fit nicely there as well.
Only reason I don't think it was going to be Jameson, we actually have breaking news, so I'm going to stop. The Vikings have traded back into the second round with the 42nd pick. And while we wait on that, I'll get back into this New Orleans news. New Orleans has beaten Tampa Bay quite a bit since they've had Tom Brady. I think, 5 times maybe. So they feel like they're in win mode now. I mean, that's what I heard.
Yeah,
I was listening to today.
And they have, that division besides, it's pretty weak.
I agreed with you. I would have took Jameson too.
Yeah.
But given that reason, Olave does make more sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. I just,
Jameson's a perfect New Orleans player, though, in my opinion.
Yep.
With Drew Brees and Sean Payton, though. But now that's not who they have, so we'll see what they end up doing with Chris Olave and Trevor Penning. Before we get into Philly, We can talk about how you feel about Vikings trading into 42 right here before they.
There's a lot of value in this pick right now. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Why am I scared that it's Malik Willis though right now?
You don't think it's George Pickens? There's no way they traded up for George Pickens here.
Oh my God.
Kirk Cousins. They're talking about Kirk. We got it on mute, but Peter Schrager. I wish I could read lips. Uh-oh. Let's read the body language. What do these guys think here? So last year, Kirk was 33-7. I mean, okay, so the Vikings get a 42nd, which is this pick, and a 4th-round pick from the Colts. They give up the 53rd that they got from the Packers, a 3rd-round pick, 77th overall,
And a 6th-round.
and a 6th-round pick at 192. How do you feel about that value? Okay, decent. You got some of it back, I guess. That 3rd-rounder, I don't know.
I don't know. Well, I would like to have 2 3rd-rounders.
3rd round is the sleeper round. It's usually my favorite round.
Because what were we sitting at? We had 66 and 77 or something like that?
66 for sure that you just traded. 77, I can't tell you
Oh,
that.
maybe not.
You got it in front of you, though, if you want to check.
When's our next pick?
You really think this is going to be Malik Willis, though, huh?
Well, I'm sorry.
Kirk.
So we have 2 2nd-round picks right now.
Okay.
So I'm not too mad at that then.
Okay.
I'm not too mad at that then. I mean, I don't know. I don't know the thought process behind what they're doing. I know that it seems to me that they're trying to pick up legitimate value.
Can you tell me how many years, I think you go Andrew Booth here, honestly. I hope you do anyway. How many years Kirk has left on the team after signing that 1-year extension?
How many do I think?
How many years does he have left? Because he has a no-trade clause.
I think he's tied to us through 2023.
Oh, so just 1 more year?
Let's see.
So maybe you do go Malik here.
I'm not trying to look at the screen yet.
What do you think, DB or Malik?
I would say Andrew Booth.
You got to go Andrew Booth here. The suspense, folks. This is why you're here. This is why we're here.
Okay, how long do you gotta talk for, bro?
I know, bro's been out there for like 30 minutes.
Vegas would have been fun though, huh?
You'd have left that bitch with a Mike Tyson tattoo on
Nah, I would have played it cool out there.
That's what this nigga's doing. This nigga giving a graduation Hall of Fame speech. They never let me in, but let me tell you.
Bro, what is going on?
Oh, I hate niggas that high five like that. Lame shit.
Bro, how long is he gonna talk?
The motherfucking lady with the headphones came out, pointed at the card, told this nigga read the card, John. That's how long he was taking, man. This motherfucker's OC with the 42nd pick. The Vikings select Andrew Booth Jr., cornerback out of Clemson.
I'm glad. I'm not happy with that pick.
You're not happy?
No, I am happy with it. That's also. I mean,
he's ultimately a first-round talent. You get in the 2nd round at a position of need.
Yeah.
Okay, Rademacher. Tell Tyler he was wrong. This new regime knows what they're doing. Maybe. I mean, y'all risky, man.
That's
risky.
That's the part that I'm not liking about the. Oh man, you can't argue with the outcome of the pick. You just can't. It's that initial reaction. It's just like I wouldn't have been so mad and frustrated if it wasn't the Packers coming up to 34. I mean, you're getting
Aaron Rodgers, a back-to-back MVP, another weapon. Let them fucking, I don't know, let them get Robert Michi at fucking 55.
Yeah, bro.
Like, what are y'all doing?
I mean, yeah. I'm not mad at the pick. I love the pick, honestly. I had him. I would have picked him at 34. I would have picked him at 34. But to get him at 42, you can't argue with that. You know what I'm saying? I like Andrew Booth overall a lot. I just think, and that was a huge need for us too. And I love his size. I think he's very physical. I mean, him and Cena are two of the most physical D-backs in the draft.
They are. I like them. So, with the 43rd pick, the New York Giants select wide receiver.
That's the dude you like.
Robinson.
That's your guy.
This is not my guy.
Yeah, you said the 5'8" guy.
From Memphis.
Oh, Memphis.
This guy's 5'8", runs a 4.44. I'd like you to be faster.
If you're that small, yeah.
But you played in the SEC, which is basically a development league for the NFL, so you were second team all SEC.
Why does it seem like...
I'm not mad at that. I mean, I don't know much about this guy, but they're trying to get off Kadarius Toney, who they drafted in the drafted last year. They got rid of a couple other receivers, and I mean,
5'8" scares me.
It scares me a lot too for that to be a replacement. But he had 104 catches, 1,300 yards last year.
Yeah, I mean that's solid, but like, dude, when you're 5'8" in the NFL,
yeah, I mean that's usually a gadget guy
or a return guy. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, but yeah, gadget for sure. You're not gonna.
You can maybe play, full-time receiver for 3-4 years before you start.
Yeah, I feel that.
But I don't know much about this guy. So
yeah, Ravens coming up shortly.
We're gonna do some work here. We might go ahead and get GP. Back to the draft. Philly got Jordan Davis. How you feel about that?
I've said it before. I love that pick. I mean, you got Fletcher Cox on his way out practically. I think is he playing one more year maybe? But if Jordan Davis can unlock that potential, get conditioned, and play more than 25 snaps a game, he can wreak havoc on the NFL.
So, yeah, his production's obviously not great, but for that fact that he did only play 25, 30 snaps a game, it's pretty good.
Right. That's
what you would like to see him on
he's a freak,
more.
The
only concern with that is, can you still produce like that when you do put in those kind of snaps?
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Baltimore, 14th pick, went and grabbed Kyle Hamilton, traded back into the first round. 25th pick, went and grabbed an offensive lineman, Tyler Linderbaum. One of us was quite distraught last night. The other couldn't have been happier.
Right.
Kyle Hamilton was one of my favorite players on the board. I've said it before, the most versatile guy in this draft class. To have him fall all the way to 14, it's a perfect fit.
Never saw that coming, but
Never. Perfect fit. In offensive line, position of need, we went ahead and got us one. A center. I think, that's what we needed to do. Last year, we had one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Our rushing attack, it wasn't what it used to be. Outside of both of our running backs going out. But we definitely lost some O-linemen over the past years, whether it be the retirement or trade. So this was definitely a position of need. I'm glad we traded back in to get that. Kyle Hamilton, if you compare him with Peters, Humphrey, and then who's the safety we just got?
Marcus Williams.
I'm sorry. Marcus Williams.
And that's the thing. And then you guys ultimately, in my eyes, too, on that defense side of the ball.
Great backfield.
You guys you had a lot of, injury-ridden guys last year. And getting those guys back full strength, healthy, that's like getting draft picks this year. Like,
essentially.
Like, you're reloading that whole team. And if you can stay healthy, that's a fierceful defense. Like, it's solid. And now the only thing is you got to give. Bateman's got to produce this year.
Bateman has to produce. We have to get Lamar a weapon. We traded away Hollywood to get Linderbaum in the first round.
And I think Lamar's not the happiest right now. So he's essentially he's essentially starting over, having to reconnect or get chemistry with these receivers this year.
He's also not signed. And Tyler Huntley's also on the roster. So ultimately, this jersey behind my left shoulder may not be up there in a year or two. But
how do you like Huntley? What's your feelings on him?
I think if Lamar could pass like Huntley, he'd be the top 3 quarterback.
Yeah. That's the only issue I have with Lamar is his accuracy.
Oh, my goodness. If he could pass like Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, or that too.
We'd have a Super Bowl.
Easily. He'd be so.
There'd be nothing.
No one could touch him.
There'd be nothing you could do.
And I think that's the risk you take with a guy who plays quarterback who ultimately is a great runner. They never typically can do both very well. And that's what you're looking at with Malik Willis in this draft. Great dynamic running ability, but the accuracy issues are very apparent.
Kyler Murray's probably the only one, but he has durability issues.
He's so small.
Round 2, pick 44, Houston Texans. John Mechie, wide receiver, out of the...
Wow. Over Pickens? You think he's better than George Pickens?
Him?
Yeah. I mean, you watch him every Saturday.
He was nice. He dropped more passes than I would like to see. He was more like Jerry Jeudy. And get the fuck out of here, nigga. Gator chomp what, nigga? Gator chomp what, nigga? That's great. Yeah, I like him better than George Pickens. What are you fucking talking about? He should have won a second overall.
Man, get out of here with that. It's an interesting pick.
I think if he wouldn't have got hurt,
I was gonna tell you before
he probably should have been end of the first round.
When you were talking, I didn't want to interrupt, but I was like, because Houston traded up for this pick, and I was like, it's got to be wide receiver.
I probably would have took Pickens just because of his size ahead of Mechie, but I don't know. I think Mechie might be better.
He might pair better with Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks is little. I mean, they're going to be okay in Houston, I think. And that division's not very good. But it did get better. I will say that.
Oh.
Washington traded back to 16. Kind of got a surprise player for me and Jahan Dotson, wide receiver out of Penn State. How do you feel about that?
I mean, if Dotson got picked in the first round, I saw him being like that back half in like the mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
But I hear really good things about him. Everyone who talks about him, some people say he tracks the ball the best out of this class, which is, I mean, that's a huge thing. But I don't know how I like him paired up with Terry McLaurin. I feel like, in my opinion, I thought Washington would try to go like a bigger guy, where you can kind of have that.
I understand.
1A, 1B, like do different type things, but at the same time, if this guy pans out, I mean, you needed another weapon for Wentz either way.
Was this your best receiver on the board at this point?
Well, no.
It was Burks.
Burks was. I would have. Yeah. See, and that's the thing. I was gonna tell you, if I was Washington, I would have taken Treylon Burks, because I like that. I like how he would pair up with McLaurin.
Right.
So
opposite styles.
I mean, I can't say I've watched a whole lot on Dotson, but hey, he seems to be like a boomer bust pick.
I talked to my guy yesterday who's an Ohio State fan and watches a lot of Big Ten. He did say Garrett Wilson was better than Olave when I asked him, and he did say Dotson was cold.
Yeah.
So I'll take his word for it. I don't watch a lot of Big Ten. I feel like it's stuck in the 1980s.
Yeah, that's true.
Except for Ohio
Especially
State.
when you watch the Gophers.
The Gophers did have a running back who was really good this year.
But they're so predictable. I mean, that's my only issue with them. And then to have Tanner Morgan as your quarterback for 6 years now, like, that's ridiculous.
Round 2, pick 45, Baltimore Ravens. Selection is
David
Ojabo. Perfect Ravens player. Somebody was going to take a chance on him.
Boy, that defense is going to look mighty nasty.
It's going to look like it should, man. We didn't look like we were. We didn't look like we were supposed to.
I mean, I'm loving you guys' draft. That's a great, great pick right there.
He's going to have to sit out for, maybe the whole season.
But you know what? They're coming back better, stronger, and even sometimes faster than they used to with those injuries. So I wouldn't even. I mean, Baltimore's clearly not worried about it.
No, I'm not worried about it. And we're not the type of team to rush guys back. We're gonna take care of him. He fits our style. He's a Baltimore kind of player. We're gonna develop him.
Yeah.
He's raw, but we're gonna develop him. just as athletic.
Perfect spot for him.
ability.
You guys are really good at developing players. I like that a lot.
I'm happy with that, even though he'll miss a lot of time. I'm happy with that. Hopefully, going forward, those injuries aren't going to be something that happens a lot. He didn't start playing football till recently, so
I love those type of guys, man. Because that means you're a freak, bro.
that means you have a lot of potential.
Like, that's
But now that you got this injury, it also
Hey.
means your body might not be able to hold up.
right.
Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers at pick 17. Got a guard, Zion Johnson. Do you think this Zion will be better than the NBA Zion?
I do.
I do too, because this one's supposed to be fat.
I like how you spun that.
This is a offensive need for the Chargers, the only one they have probably. I mean, you could argue running back. Some people argued receiver as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this is something that can take this team to the next level. How do you think he's going to fare with this team?
I think it was a great pick. I mean, you have to protect Justin Herbert. I like what I see from Zion on film. His numbers, great. I mean, you can plug and play him. I think, what are they probably going to go, right guard?
Guard for sure, whichever side.
But you needed another piece to that offensive line to solidify what you can do with that offense because it's very dynamic. So I think it's just the same with what Cincy has to do with Joe Burrow. Protect him at all costs. Because at Herbert, I mean, he's special.
Real special. This was one of the only few positions of need this team had on the offensive side. In the offseason, they filled a lot of those defensive needs. So this was a good pick here. Might have been a little bit of a stretch for some. Maybe had him going in the mid-20s, late 20s. But when you got to get a guy to protect your guy, you got to go up and get him.
Yep.
Tennessee trading back up into the first round from their 26th pick up to 18. Took my guy, my favorite receiver in the draft out of Arkansas, Treylon Burks. Some people were concerned about his 40 time, but I heard somebody say that his top speed topped out at over 22 miles an hour. So he has build-up speed. And, I mean, on the tape, it doesn't really seem like he's that slow, so that's something I'm not really that concerned about. I think this guy can go up and get contested catches, and that's something I like in my receivers, big size. I'm not a fan of the smaller guys. How you feel about this pick right here?
It's kind of it's interesting. They obviously went the cheaper route because he's kind of like a carbon copy of A.J. Brown. So
I'm glad you said that because I heard someone say it's kind of like how y'all got J.J. when you let Diggs go.
Yeah.
And they're hoping that's what this will be for Tennessee.
Yeah, and I think, but the only thing is like that receiver core is so. I mean, I know they traded for Robert Woods.
Yeah.
But it's other than those two, it's pretty paper thin. Like
it is.
So you obviously think the world of him because he can just come in and replace AJ like that if that's what you're doing, and giving AJ his walking papers. But I like the pick. I mean, he fits there perfectly. It's just a matter of can he give a return on investment right away.
You think he's ready to play right now?
I think, my opinion, yeah. It's just a matter of, I mean, you got to come in and be that star right away. I mean, you're the big dog in the room right now.
I think 1,000-yard season is definitely feasible. What's that, like 60? Used to be 65 yards a game or so.
Yeah.
So less than that with 17 games.
And he can do it. I mean, I just think it's kind of. I even would have loved that pick if AJ was still there.
I would have too. I thought they would have liked to pair them together, even though they're kind of similar styles, like you said. But I mean, I personally think that's Tennessee's style of receiver.
And I think, business standpoint, it's a smarter move. I mean, practically. I mean, it's practically, like I said, carbon copy. So you're getting rid of one, plugging in the other, and you're trying to pick up where you left off. So if that's the case, more power to you. It's just a matter of, the risk part of him being a rookie and is he ready to be on that type of level that AJ was. So, and that's the whole thing. It's kind of a tricky situation too because you didn't get better, but you didn't get worse. So you stood pat kind of.
Which results in, do you win the AFC again? You got to assume Derrick Henry doesn't miss half the season this year.
If he pays off and can give you A.J. Brown type numbers, then you should win, yeah.
Who's your number one, him or Robert Woods? They have Austin Hooper as well, so they do have a formidable tight end.
Yep. I'd probably lean on the veteran a little more if I'm Tannehill. I mean, at least for the first, 5-6 games.
I probably do too.
Because Robert Woods is no slouch. Like, he's solid.
No, he's real good. He's real good. Underrated, I think. Pittsburgh, pick 20. Surprise of the draft for me. Took the hometown boy, Kenny Pickett. Quarterback out of Pittsburgh. You and I, not fans of this guy at all. Me personally, I probably wouldn't even touch this guy to the 4th round.
Yeah.
I thought it was a match made in heaven right here, man. Malik Willis going to Pittsburgh.
I do too. And that's the thing. What I want to say about this is, like I said before, you already got Mitchell Trubisky, and that they remind me of each other in some sort of way. I don't know why, but I just feel like you're not doing yourself a favor for your future as a whole. I think with Malik, you could have let him learn under Trubisky. Probably not the best guy to learn under, per se, but that sets your future up so good if Malik can reach his potential, because he's got the highest ceiling out of all these quarterbacks in this draft class, in my opinion. And if he can amount to that, he would have made Pittsburgh, even better probably than the Big Ben era.
2 Super Bowls?
I'm not saying in Super Bowl terms. I'm just saying, like, how dynamic and, like, because he can run. And, like, it's kind of like a shift in culture, per se. Like, you're going from what you're used to with Big Ben to now you got a dynamic playmaker who can create offense at any level.
What could have been? How you feel about Kenny Pickett here?
I'm not sold on it at all. I think that to me, that does not say Mike Tomlin pick.
Me either. He said he wanted a different kind of quarterback.
Not to mention, you saw the way he looked at Malik in that video. It's that. Like, hey.
Why is that so fucking hilarious?
I just think, I don't know. I think it was a missed opportunity.
How you feel he's going to pan out in the league?
Well, like I said, I think Kenny Pickett's already reached his ceiling. I don't think he's got much more improvement in him. You might be able to improve, like, your timing on some things, whether it be, making the right reads at the right time or whatnot. But I just don't see him. He's not going to be a dynamic quarterback he's not going to be a dynamic quarterback in the NFL. He's not. He is. Like I said, it reminds me of Trubisky, but he also reminds me of Christian Ponder. Like, it's.
Oh no. He's bad though. I think he's bad too. I don't think he's gonna do anything at all in the league.
You're not. You can't be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan and be like, yeah, I'm comfortable with him leading us to a Super Bowl. I think that would. I'm interested to see how they feel, because I think it was definitely a missed out. And like I said, it does not. When you look at that pick, it doesn't seem like Mike Tomlin handed in that card himself. Like, and I think ultimately it went that Tomlin made it known what he wants, but I feel like the front office had their mind set on who is most ready right now.
Round 2, pick 48. Chicago Bears select safety Jaquan Brisker out of Penn State. Don't know much about this guy. What about you?
Chicago's obviously retooling that defense the way they see fit. I think, I don't know, I'm surprised they haven't taken a playmaker for Justin Fields yet.
You can't just rely on Mooney. I don't know why they haven't either.
And who did they get? Was it Byron Pringle?
Pringle?
Is that who they got? And you can't rely on him either.
No, you can't. I don't think they really did much in the offseason. I can't quite remember right now.
So right now, I think.
But that's tough.
Yeah.
Man. George Pickens still on the board.
That's a shocker, dude.
That's tough.
If he falls to us.
What pick are you? 59? Oh, he's not going to make it. Going back to last night, Kansas City trading up in the first round. 21st pick gets Trent McDuffie, cornerback out of Washington. And then with their second pick in the first round at number 30, they go ahead and get George Karlaftis, edge out of Purdue. Two guys that are probably valued way higher than what they got drafted at. And I think Kansas City is one of those teams
it's like Baltimore.
Got away good in the first round.
It just fell their way. And they traded up obviously for McDuffie, which that to me made a lot of sense. When they traded, I had a feeling it was going to be McDuffie because he screams Kansas City Chiefs. Like, that's an Andy Reid type player. And he's going to fit in day one right away on that defense. And same with Karlaftis. They needed that other edge rusher besides Frank Clark, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They can't just rely on Frank over there. So to have two guys who can come off the edge, like. But Karlaftis, he doesn't have. I mean, wasn't rated. I mean, he was. I would have picked him probably around this range myself. I didn't think he was.
I say 18 to 28ish. So yeah, right at the tail end of that.
Yeah.
I think they got good value for
But
him.
great value, that's what I'm saying. Yep. I think, but for me personally, when it came to McDuffie possibly being a Viking, it was like I just didn't see. He didn't seem to be like that Vikings type player we usually go for, and I'm not really a fan of the size, especially where we're at with what we need to do with retooling our secondary. I don't think he was the guy to come in and lead your cornerback room next year as, not having that 6 foot or above size, 200 pounds. Like, that's what obviously Andrew Booth gives us on that outside cornerback.
I like both picks here. Both positions of need. That defense needed help. They were terrible last year.
Yeah.
They're not going to have Tyrann Mathieu back. I like that they traded up. They definitely did what they had to do. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Questionable pick right here. Number 22, Green Bay Packers taking Quay Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. And then their second pick at number 28, Devontae Wyatt, defensive line out of Georgia. So when in doubt, go ahead, go with the national champs and just go ahead and grab two guys off that defense. That was number 1.
Quay Walker, that was a head scratcher for me. I didn't think he should have been drafted before Nakobe Dean, but Green Bay has their reasonings, obviously. And
I mean, we're on pick 49 here. We don't know what the Saints are going to do. Nakobe Dean's still on the board.
Yeah. It's a surprise he's fallen this far. I mean, I think he's going to be obviously he's got like injury issues. I think they said soft tissue issues that he seems to have. He got injured in the pre-draft process and chose not to get surgery and just rehab instead. I don't remember what the injury was, but I just feel like he has an overall better outlook in the NFL than Quay Walker, but on paper it could say otherwise with the athleticism and size of Walker. But I can't argue the Devontae Wyatt pick. I love that pick, honestly. I mean, you got – who do you have? You got Rashawn Gary. You got I think they just signed this offseason Jaron Reed from Kansas City.
Still have Preston Smith.
Yeah, Preston Smith, Kenny Clark.
Yeah.
Like, that front seven and the depth they got going that's like, you got to fear that because they're doing. I mean, they might not have the weapons on offense for Rodgers, but he's going to make shit happen. So now, in their eyes, they just got to have that overall defense where they can win games. So, I mean, you can't argue with their thought process. It's just, where does that get you when you don't have Rodgers?
You think Rodgers going to be there next year? You think he'll be in Baltimore?
No. He's going to – at this point, I'm just saying he's retiring a Packer.
Okay. He's call it a day then, huh?
But I did hear, though, he did say yesterday on the Pat McAfee show that when he made the decision to come back to Green Bay, that he did think that Devontae was staying.
Buffalo.
Buffalo, 23. Kaiir Elam, cornerback, Florida. I was kind of surprised here because I kind of pegged Andrew Booth going to them. I thought he was rated out a little bit better. But the thing with Elam, he has great size at 6'2". I don't know his weight, but very long arms. I think he's a very physical press man guy. He's going to be like a Xavier Rhodes with a lot of penalties. But with a position of need and where you guys are at with your team right now, that was a great pick. I mean, pairing him up again, up the opposite side of Tre'Davious, I think Elam can be he can be a top corner in this league. I think it was a good spot for him to go to.
I think it's a perfect spot for him to go to. Secondary is getting a little bit older. Opposite side of Tre'Davious White, good guy to learn from.
Mm-hmm.
Number one defense across the board last year, so definitely the system you want to play in, definitely the guys you want to learn under.
Right.
Perfect spot for this guy to go. Good size. How big is Trey White? 6 feet, 6'1", something like that.
Yeah, so I think 6 feet.
You got two big corners, two decent corners.
Yeah, you can hold down the outside.
Yeah, you can. You already know Trey's a lockdown, potential top 5 cornerback if healthy. Kaiir can definitely come to play. I think.
Yeah, and you're not drafting Elam to come in and learn. He's gonna learn, but he's learning on the fly because he's starting day one.
Yeah, for sure. Dallas Cowboys pick 24, offensive lineman out of Tulsa, Tyler Smith. How you feel about that?
I'll let you hit on it first because I'm not.
Okay, I like. I should have known, man. Jerry was going to take the guy out of Tulsa. I didn't think they were going to take offensive line because it's not the sexy pick. It's not really going to sell tickets, but their left tackle, Tyler Smith, is getting up there in age, and he's been dealing with injuries for the past few years. The offensive line really isn't what it used to be, and, Dak is still coming off that injury a year and a half ago. Zeke looks like he's taking a step back, but that could be because the offensive line isn't what it used to be. I think this is a good pick here. Very good run blocker, very good pass blocker.
Yeah.
I think this guy, even though coming from a small school, I don't think that'll really matter. He has good size, good hands, good feet. I think that's a good pick for the Cowboys. Safe pick for the Cowboys.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. It's a safe overall pick. I mean, they do need to start rebuilding that offense in a sense because there are two guys that they got coming back. They're kind of on the wrong side of 30, so you need to start thinking about the future. And without an offensive line, your team can't go. And we know Jerry Jones likes the high-flying offense. So that's why he did a great job with that previous O-line they had the last however long. I mean, it was built to perfection. That was like the number one offensive line in the league for quite a few years.
Zach Martin, Frederick, Smith, they were dominant.
So, and I think it showed, especially Zeke's rookie year, like, He was amazing to watch behind that line.
He showed out.
But I overall like this. There's nothing sexy about it. It's just that, hey, we need to start thinking about the O-line. We need help there. And this is the best guy on the board. Well, can't say that because Linderbaum is still on the board. But Tyler Smith started coming into mock draft play for me like the last week or so. I started hearing more about him. And it makes sense that Jerry goes that route.
I like him there. He just lost Lyle Collins, too, to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's true.
So your O-line is definitely not what it used to be. New England Patriots, round 2, pick 50. Wide receiver, Tyquan Thornton out of Baylor.
4.2840.
4.2840. Good Lord. At 6'2".
Yeah.
2021 second team All Big 12.
Mac Jones just got a guy who's going to help him.
He did.
I like that pick. I was starting to hear more about him the last week or so as well. He was a guy that I know the Packers were eyeing. Obviously before they traded up for Watson, but 4.28, that dude can fly.
10 touchdowns, he produced a little bit. I mean, that's not bad at all.
And coming from Baylor, I mean, that's not a slouch of a football school.
Not at all. That's not a bad pick for New England. They usually don't go for the receivers like that, but hey, like I said, they got to switch it up this year. Staying on New England, man. Last night, stranger things have happened. Cole Strange.
Yeah. This is my worst graded pick of the first round. I thought this dude, obviously he could have been there late second round, early third round, and I just think they reached for a need, and I didn't like the pick. But they've been doing this for however long now, and somehow it always seems to work out. But like you said earlier, you don't have Tom Brady anymore where it can really work every single year. So
definitely was a position of need. This was a Michael Jordan Space Jam reach right here, man. He definitely would have been there third or second round, potentially even third round.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you traded away Shaq Mason only for a fifth round pick, which doesn't make sense to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you know that he's going to Tom Brady, it makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you reach for this guy, but position of need, I guess. I mean, Bill Belichick has been doing this, and he's been finding gems in the draft. So
yeah,
this is one of those guys where you don't really question it, but I question it.
I'm questioning it. I don't like it. I don't know, but maybe they think that highly of Mac Jones that he's the next coming to Tom Brady. I mean, but I don't know, bro.
How do you feel about Mac Jones? What do you think his ceiling is?
I think he hasn't reached it yet. I think he's a very, very good quarterback. He's not calling him Tom Brady by any means, but he definitely fits the Patriot way. Like,
I agree.
The overall pocket passer, like not mobile at all. But he showed last year, like, you give him a couple like really good weapons because they're missing like
a dynamic receiver.
Yeah, and if Thornton can bring that for him, watch out because Mac Jones, he can sling it. I just think that
he showed you that
he needs a really good O-line.
That is for sure. You mentioned earlier, Cincinnati needs an offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they would have reached like this.
No, they wouldn't have.
They ended up not reaching.
And they did a great job at 31.
Yep.
I love this pick. Jackson Hill. I mean,
safety slot corner out of Michigan.
He can play lots of places, and if you lose Jesse Bates after the year, that's your next guy up. But to pair him and Bates this year, though, I think that's very solid.
To lose Jesse Bates is that would be so tragic for this team, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way you can allow that to happen if you're the front office over there.
Yeah.
But pairing them up going forward, which I think will end up being the case.
Could be the best safety duo in the league.
Oh, my goodness. We're going to contend for that, too. I was just going to say that.
Oh, we might as well.
With who?
Huh?
With who?
Hitman and Scene?
Okay. Is Hitman over the hill?
I'm not going to go there just yet. I mean, he looked last year like he was not into it fully. Like, it was almost like I said before, like, a lot of our defensive guys looked like they were just overplaying for Zimmer. I just think that it was just last year it was hitting a brick wall. Like, we don't want to come to work. We hate playing for you. Like, it's the same shit day in and day out. Like, your old ways are not what we need. So I'm not going to say he's over the hill yet. But he's on the wrong side of 30.
How old is he? 31? 32?
33.
Well, you just got a replacement for him.
That's what I'm
32.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Lewis Seen, safety out of Georgia. Wrapped up the first round with him. How'd you feel about that pick? 6'2", ran a 4.37, I believe, in the 40.
Yeah, I love the pick, especially like I said with Hitman being over the wrong side of 30. We have to replace him somehow, and I think this guy fits the bill for it. Very physical guy, fast, not scared to hit you hard, fill the lane. I think there was a couple. I think he had like a 10 or 11% missed tackle rate though this year, and they were saying he just always looks to take the head off. So like that's kind of worrisome, but I think that that's coachable as well. The only thing I have against the whole thing is trading with the Lions with all that talent on the board. But I'm letting this thing play out. I mean, I can't react. We can't truly react on any of these guys. Damn, Pickens to Pittsburgh.
George Pickens, 52nd pick to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's a solid pick.
One of my sleepers of the draft going to my division rival. It couldn't be more sweet, could it?
Need to give Pickett all the help he can have.
At least they do have Kenny Pickett. He just threw his ass on the ground. That's ridiculous.
Like I was saying though, we can't really judge any of these picks until at least like 2-3 years down the road. At least give them a couple years in the NFL, and then we can truly come back and say, hey, that draft, it worked out this way, or it was absolutely terrible. Like, I mean, I can't sit here and judge these trades that Minnesota's doing.
Definitely not. It's his first reaction.
It's just that instant gut reaction where you're like, ultimately it comes down to like you're being that passionate fan where you want to see your team pick where they originally slotted, especially in the top 15 of the draft. Like, those are prime picks. So
that's where you get potential Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not gonna go and say
Supposedly.
that. I'm not gonna go and say there's any Hall of Famers in this draft class by any means yet, but. I mean, you had Kyle Hamilton at 12. You had Jameson Williams at 12.
Jermaine
Johnson at 12. Like
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis. I mean, shoot, like there was so much talent up there, and if they feel this confident about seeing to get it move back 20 spots and pick him at 32, well, I mean, we'll see how it plays out, but. That was my only issue with it, but I do love the pick. I like the player a lot. It's just the value we got
if
back.
If you're going safety, why not go Kyle Hamilton?
That's what I was saying last night. Like it was a hard pill to swallow at first because if what they did is how they feel, then they obviously felt Cine was rated higher than Hamilton. That's how I view it.
They're concerned about the 40 time then.
But in another tweet today I saw it said that they did like Jameson Williams and Kyle Hamilton at 12, and it's like that makes no sense then. Like what are you doing? That's that Moneyball game I'm talking about. They're literally trying to get as much value at the spot that they can. Like I don't know, man. Makes me nervous for future drafts.
I'll give you that. I'd be a little nervous too. Well, that's that. Episode 2 of the Gridiron Game podcast. You can find us on YouTube and IG. And this was our recap of round 1 and our live, what do you want to call it, broadcast of round 2.
Yeah, recap of round 1, slight broadcast of round 2. Yeah, but, it is what it is. I mean, it's been a wild draft so far, man. It's a
lot of emotions, man. Roller coasters.
Like I texted you today. Besides, I mean, the NFL offseason, let alone the NFL draft, it's like the most fun time of the year for me, and I'm sure you too. I mean, there's so many things that go on, and it's hard to predict, and that's what makes the NFL fun because there's so many scenarios that can play out, and the draft is just one of those where it's just like, man, you think you kind of know what teams are going, and then these trades happen, and it's like you have no idea what they're thinking.
Not a clue.
So that it makes it fun, but it makes it infuriating too if you're on that other side of the trade.
That's a fact.
So, but yeah, this was fun, and I think the next, I mean, I'm sure we'll cover some more signings that will probably be happening soon after the draft. So,
until next time.
All right, bro.
Peace.